Today, we're talking about restaurant menus and whether or not you should look at them before going to the restaurant. We're talking nosy neighbors. Hint, it's me. We're talking delivery people doing the drop and dash, and we're talking cab etiquette. All that and more on this week's POAT podcast. Oh, God, it sounds great. Ooh, listen to that. Oh, woo. I can't hear that. I don't know why I double snapped. I was apparently a little bit confused. I don't even know why I should have single snapped there. It's not like I'm not like snapping at you. You're not there. You're not here with me. This is the third take, by the way, of this intro. This isn't even the intro. I'll tape that at the end and you'll hear it at the beginning. So you've already heard that. But it's like the opening part where I'm just getting warmed up, speaking again after being silent for most of the day. But that's what my life is. It's a lot of quiet time. Even though I'm an extrovert, most of my time is spent at home hunting for my wife to chat with her, because that's, I can't just talk to myself, even though that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. But I'm excited. I'm excited that you're here with me digitally, all your ones and zeros just bouncing around. And so thank you for being here, my one listener, or two. Now, I don't know. It may have improved. I've got a couple of things I want to chat with you about. Number one is on the nature of friendship. I had a conversation with somebody this week. He's actually a writing partner of mine, just a fellow comic who I met in a writing class, and we hit it off. And anyway, we've been writing for a little while together. And all my good jokes, I think, are his. And all of my bad jokes are also his. He just writes all my stuff. No, he's a good guy. When you say like something like he's a good guy, that makes it sound like there's a but. And there really is no but. So I don't know why I said that. No, he's a good guy, but there's a lot wrong. That's the way that phrase usually goes. Like, look, he's a good guy. Let me just set the stage. He's a nice guy. I like him. He's been a friend of mine for like 20 years, but he's killed a few people, and I wouldn't have him around your house. You might find some things missing, and that's not this guy, by the way. That's just me doing a bit about how that phrase usually sounds when I hear it from other people. Like, he's a nice guy. There's the catch. And you already hooked me with the catch, and now I want to know. If you don't tell me, I'm going to ask what the catch is. But okay, so back to the conversation. I had a conversation with this guy. We were writing together, and he said, by the way, ever since our last conversation, I feel like we've taken this relationship from kind of professional to business casual. And then he rambled on about something about like, blah, 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 friendship, yada, yada. And how often do people actually say the thing that's happening between them? Like how often do you actually share what's on your mind, or how you feel about something, or what you really think? And I'm not talking about like the thoughts that nobody should hear. Like, what do you really think about, I don't know. There's so many different places that could have gone and should not have gone. So that's why I closed it out there. It's like, well, what do you think about wearing blackface on Halloween? It's like, well, let me tell you, I think it's a shame we can't do it anymore. No, it's not one of those thoughts. And by the way, that's not my thought. Anytime you hear anything like that, it's just me doing a bit about somebody else. Okay. Even though this Halloween would have been so much. I have so much blackface paint. But how often do you actually do that? Do you share something with somebody else that's kind of a risk? Because he took a risk in saying that. And I think that actually brings people together. When you expose yourself to somebody else and they like it and expose themselves back, that's what relationships are made of. I might need to reword that. Yeah, I probably should. But that's the whole point. You know, like most of the time you're at a party and it's small talk and it's bullshit. Like all you're kind of doing is feeling out. Like I look at small talk at a party as like, all right, what's this person all about? You know, who are they? What makes them tick? And then I want to know, is there potential for more between us? Because that's the only, I mean, you know, for most people, that's a hard no. But, you know, it's not because it's not them. And it's not even me, really. It's us. It's just not a good match. You know what I mean? Like when you find somebody and you click with them and you say it, that goes even farther, right? How awkward would this be? All right. We're at a party together. You and me, you and I. I guess it depends on how I'm using that phrase. It could be both. For the grammar Nazis out there, it could be both you and I or you and me. You know, if it's like a comma, we're both at a party, you and me. Because then you could say like you and me is a response to the question, who's at the party? And then, oh, no, that would still be then you and I. Shoot. All right, well, maybe it is you and I for now. You, me? Let's go you and I. All right, so you and I are at a party. I want it to be you and me somehow. I think there's a way that this actually works, but it just depends on the intention of okay, all right, forget that. That's off topic. I need like a buzzer every time I go off topic. I got to trademark a POAT buzzer. Okay, a puzzer? A puzzer. That sounds illegal in Canada. Well, I don't know. They were out back puzzing each other. It's actually two caribou. We're doing that. That's, I think, you know, I don't know what you were thinking. But okay, but we're at a party, you and I, and we're chatting, and we're just kind of shooting the shit. It's a little bit about the weather. It's, you know, where are you from? You know, that kind of fun stuff. And I use fun very loosely. It's not fun. But what else are you going to lead with? Like, what's your stance on abortion? You can't go straight there. So you got to find some sort of happy medium between where are you from and how do you feel about capital punishment? That'd be a very awkward party guest. And I don't think you would be a frequent party guest. Okay, so you and I are talking and we're shooting the shit randomly, or not randomly, but you know, specifically about the weather. How was the weather today? Where are you from? Okay, great. That's the stage. The stage has been set. I have set the stage. The stage has been set by me. Okay, so that's how it could work. Okay, objects and subjects. But then the sooner I think we can get off topic, off of the weather and stuff, and into the fun stuff, the better. But you gotta feel somebody out. You gotta see, you know, maybe one of you throws out a little sarcastic curveball, you know, and if they hit it, if they detect it, that's better. That's good. And if they don't detect it, that's even better, because then you're like, okay, I know this isn't going to work out. But, you know, you throw out a comment that maybe is slightly off color. And I really have to emphasize slightly, because I think so many people don't understand nuance, and they would throw in some sort of bad joke. And I think I actually just saw, it was on TikTok today, and it was Mike Birbiglia's joke about how jokes were ruined by people who can't tell jokes. And the abridged version is some guy at work says, "Hey, Betsy, nice tits." And she said, "What?" And he said, "I'm joking." And then the boss says, "Okay, no more jokes." Okay, that's how, maybe that's not the abridged version. Maybe that's the whole joke. Okay, but anyway, it's a great joke. It's funny to illustrate the point, I think, of how jokes get ruined by people who can't tell jokes. Okay, so that's the whole nuance part of this thing. But you throw out maybe a sarcastic jab or something, and then you kind of, all right, then we're vibing. And I think that means something new to young kids, or that means something new to me based on how young kids are using the word vibing. I mean it like, okay, right. And it doesn't mean any sort of sexual attraction, although it could also include that. I'm talking about just regular people talking. Is that vibing? What is the meaning of vibing? Please email me at poatcast@gmail.com to let me know the meaning of the phrase vibing. Okay. Because I'd like to know. I want to learn. I want to know everything that I don't already know, which is limited. But okay, here we go. So we're at a party. we're chatting. But the sooner we can get to like the fun stuff, I think the better. Like when you can actually do a bit with somebody or make fun of the party itself, that's fun. Like then you're not just like, oh, hi, I'm from Louisiana and I'm here. Oh, okay, cool. And then it just turns into like an interview, and I bore quickly of that. I gotta make sure I'm taping because I never know sometimes. There's no light on the front that says you're taping. Thank God. Okay, thank God we are taping. Whew. But here's the deal. So this is the conversation I had. He said, ever since we had our last conversation, I feel like we took it from professional to business casual, into like a friendship. And I totally agree. And that in and of itself was an interesting note, that meta comment, right? It's like a comment about the conversation or about the relationship there. I think that was a bold move, right? I appreciate that. If anybody does that. And because then you kind of cut through all the stuff and you're like, hey, this is pretty cool. You're not wasting each other's time. You just both acknowledge it. And anyway, I wish more people had the ability or maybe the comfortability or the confidence to go there. I mean, including myself. Most especially myself. I'd love to be able to do things like that more often. Or at all. I don't know if I've ever done that. Spoken my true feelings. Well, if I had a feeling, I would share it with somebody. And I'll let you know when the time comes. But, I can feel it. It's like bubbling around deep down inside. And that might be just a fart. And I think it is. I remember making a joke similar to that on a YouTube video. And some guy saw it and he's like, this is toxic masculinity. And I remember thinking that was sarcasm. And, but I don't think that person would have gotten it because they were too busy trying to call it out. And, I think that's too bad because I think you can have fun. Like that's what jokes to me are about. You make the joke to almost point out that kind of behavior. The toxic masculinity in this case, in this specific example. I made a joke. It was a YouTube video, and I said, I've never cried because I'm a man. And it was very clear, I thought, that it was sarcasm. But, some people don't detect sarcasm, even when it's laid on super thick. And that's okay. Did I mention? Okay, stop me if I mentioned this in the last podcast. But I had a conversation with a guy in my gym a couple of weeks ago. And it was a chest day, so I was doing bench press. And I was benching, I'll just make up a number, 500 pounds. And a guy walked by, one of the building people, a trainer or a guy who works in my building walked by and he's like, oh, how much are you lifting? And I said, oh, today's just a light day. This is, half as much as I normally do. And it was obvious that it was all I could do. And he got the joke and he walked on. And then another guy, this guy I'm talking about came up to me and he's like, so how much do you normally lift? And I, looked over and I said, well, 500 pounds. And then he's like, oh, well, you just told that guy that this is half as much as you normally lift. And I said, yeah, I was lying. I was joking. And he said, oh, sarcasm. And I said, you think? And he said, yes. But then he said, my friends say I don't have a very good sarcasm detector. And I said, your friends are onto something. And he's like, I'm a very literal person. And I said, yes, you are. And then he said, that's the trouble with sarcasm. It's supposed to be detectable. And I went, no. And then he said, yeah, actually, if you look up the dictionary definition, I'm really not making this up. He said, if you look up the definition of the word sarcasm in the dictionary, it's, I don't know. And then he recited the definition of what sarcasm is. And I said, wow, that's a great description. But I appreciated the definition. That's nice. but that there are people out there who don't get it, and that's fine. It's just a different, layer of conversation, and those people make me uncomfortable. So I promptly finished lifting my 4,000 pounds, got out of there, and I said, thank you very much for this enjoyable conversation. But, I'm kidding. He's a nice guy. I was just I'm giving him a bad time right now because I'm pretty sure he would never listen to this. And if he does, hey, how's it going out there? I hope you don't. But, okay, so that's kind of fun. I don't know, what is your goal? When you're at a party and you're making small talk, what's the point? What do you think? Email me at poatcast@gmail.com. Let me know. I'd like to know your thoughts. Because these aren't questions I ask my friends on the regular. Because it's a dumb question, I think, to just lead with. Like, hey, how's everybody doing? Hey, quick question for you guys. Just taking a survey of the room. What is your goal with small talk or conversations at a party? It's not to hear stories. Now, I know some people enjoy that, and there are very gifted storytellers out there. But I was in the workplace long enough to know and have been around people that stories at like parties aren't very fun, because the center of attention should be me. Okay, that's the point. And when you tell a story, it's actually kind of boring. Like, and most people are terrible storytellers, including myself. Okay, I get this. My mother's given me so many gifts in this world, talents up the wazoo. One talent she's also given me is the gift of verbosity and long-winded stories. I hesitate because I know she's my only listener and I don't want to scare her away. So, Mom, I love you. But I do get this from her. And, it's those meandering type stories that don't go anywhere. And you're like, what is the point? And she's like, well, there is no point. And I'm like, well, let's pull over and at a bar so I can get out and, end this now. But that's one of the, most people aren't very good storytellers. And I have only recently gained the confidence at a party when somebody starts telling a story, even if they're a gifted storyteller, to say, oh, I need to go refill my drink. And they're like, but you have two in your hands. And I'm like, I know, I got to get a third and out of this situation. I've only recently developed that skill. And it's taken 38 arduous years of going to parties, making small talk with people, identifying very few that I would love to. And also, this goes both ways. I know people... people out there probably don't identify me as a potential, party mate. I think I'm assuming there's one out there that hasn't in all the years, but I'm a catch. No, I'm not. I'm a real catch. I'm a catch 22. Oh God, that hurt. No, but that's the thing. I don't have enough time left in this life to listen to your long-winded story. It might be great. And you know what? You might enjoy it. Other people might be enjoying it too. I'm just saying, for me, I'm not enjoying it as much. So that's why I say something and I say I got to go get a drink. And you're very nice. You're nice about it. You have to be nice about it to get out of that situation. Okay. So anyway, back to the whole thing, this conversation. I would like to. I don't mean to suggest that we need to go from like 0 to 60 in every single interaction we have with people, because, sometimes you got to like feel them out a little bit, because you don't want to like overplay your hand and then they're like, wow, I did not know you were a Klansman or something. And I don't know why that's where my mind went. That's not where it should go, because I'm not ever. That's not, again, these are all just, God, I'm so nervous about saying that, but I know, like I know there's only one person out there really listening to this, and it's a joke. Good Lord. And it was, it was a twist, right? It wasn't like the best joke in the world, but it wasn't like a bad joke. I wanted something with teeth in it, so that if I said it, it would be like, If I had said, I don't mean to go from 0 to 60 in a conversation, and then the other person, and you overplay your hand, you scare the other person, and then they say something like, "Oh God, I didn't know you loved Merlot." That has no teeth. That's not really interesting. Unless you hate Merlot, in which case that's very interesting to you, I guess. Anyway, where else are we going with this? So let's see where else. Oh, this conversation. Yeah, so it was a great conversation. Anyway, I think having the conversation strengthened the relationship even more, which is kind of fun, when you share something with somebody and you take it to the next level. So we're dating now, I guess is where I'm going with this. But I haven't, you do that with so few people. Like I can count on my hand the number of times I've done that with somebody. If anybody walks in, or if like the NSA is monitoring and they just cut into this conversation, I'm talking about sharing in a conversation. I'm not talking about doing anything weird or illegal. Right? Yeah. No. Okay. But I can count on my hand the number of times that I've really shared. Maybe that's not true. Now I can't. Maybe I'm just making this up just for the sake of having something to say. I don't think that's true at all. Anyway, but like the people you grew up with, right? Like your friends from grade school and middle school and high school, when you only share, how you really feel, because you haven't developed adult abilities to put up. Well, maybe some people have. I was a very hard on my sleeve kind of guy, kind of kid. No, actually, kind of guy. I was this tall in 5th grade, and shaving twice a day. But yeah, that's it. So anyway, my goal here, I guess, I don't know, I'm just sharing something. Does anybody else feel this way, where you'd like to share a little bit, but you're scared? I want to tell you, feel free to have that conversation with somebody and be okay sharing something that might be risky. Not like a weird off the wall opinion, but like, hey, I really enjoy your friendship. Or I don't know. I don't have anything because, again, I've never shared. I've never had those feelings. But if you do have them, share them. Okay, on to our next topic. Should you look at a menu before going to a restaurant? Now, this was inspired by a conversation I had at a party. It was small talk. And the question is, should you look at a restaurant? Should you look at a menu before going to a restaurant? I am firmly in the no camp. Okay. Now, here's the deal. If I'm picking it, if it's like for date night or a group, I will look at it just very briefly to get an idea of the cuisine. Okay. I want to know what's going on there. I want to know maybe what kind of drinks they have. I like a good bar program. Okay, if they have a good cocktail menu, I know that if they have an interesting cocktail menu with interesting drinks, I know that they probably care as much about the kitchen as they do those interesting drinks. Okay, so if they spend the time and the money for a good cocktail menu, they probably have an okay food program. So I will look at it briefly if I'm planning a date night, or if I'm looking at scouting out a new location. Basically, if it's my reputation on the line, I want to know what we're getting into. It doesn't have to be deep. I don't look for special dietary considerations. I just want to know, okay? And most of that you can tell by the non-Yelp pictures. I look at pictures on a website. That helps a lot. If it's good photography, they care, and the website is actually quality, I'm 9 times out of 10, it's not going to suck. Like I know every time I go in, every time I check the website for the Outback Steakhouse, just to get a feel for like if we're in Harrisburg on a road trip, and I need like if there's an Outback across the street, because I guaranteed there is, because that's the only way I would be in Harrisburg. Even though I've stayed in Harrisburg or Mechanicsburg, I've been there like a few times. But okay. But yeah, I always find hotels. My wife and I love the Outback Steakhouse because it's Australia's greatest export. Okay, what's not to love about that? And arguably America's greatest import. This is something we brought from the land down under, and it's incredible. Second on the list of incredible is Foster's, which guess what they have at the Outback Steakhouse. Okay, get some kookaburra wings. Come on, son. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, but so every time that's when I'll look at a menu. And really I'm kind of fudging it here. It's not even the menu. It's mostly just the website and the pictures. If it looks good, it's probably going to taste good. But other than that, I don't want to look at a menu. If someone says, "Hey, we should go to Hillstone," which, okay, I've been there like a million times. Well, not quite a million. A couple hundred? No, a few dozen. A few dozen times. Okay, we went from like a million to a few dozen. You took all the fun out of it. That's what exaggeration's for. Okay, so I've been there a million times. But okay, so someplace I've never been. Somebody invites me. I don't look at the menu. I don't want to. Because I want to be surprised. There are so few surprises in life. I'd love to have one that I can control. You know? And even if it's like a vegan restaurant or something, and I don't know anybody that would invite me to one on purpose. But, I don't care. That's a surprise too. That's fine. I'll take it. It might be kind of fun, to try something new and then have diarrhea for a week. It's the price you pay for having vegetables and only vegetables. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Email me at poatcast@gmail.com. I'm really laying it on thick here because I want to hear from people. I want to know their opinions. I want to know, do we look at menus or not? Because my wife is a total menuer. She will scope that thing out before we go any place. It's to the point where we get there, and if like they haven't given me a menu yet, I'm like, God, I'm excited to see what they've got. And she can recite the whole thing to me. She's like, oh, they have a steak you would love. It's got a poivre and everything. You should get that. I'm like, okay, well, that's why I've got you, I guess, to suggest a menu item and then eat half of it as your payment. But that's, she'll check out every menu. She'll know, what the ingredients have. So that's why I like looking at it while we're there, because it's then a surprise. And then we're immersed in the situation. And that's what I go to anytime the conversation's a lull, especially, for work things where it's new people. Then you can kind of comment on it like, oh, they have crab cakes. Oh, is it soft shelled? Yeah. Oh, Dungeness all the way out here. That's insane. I hate that guy. But, we need people to make comments like that to keep, it's like keeping the eternal flame at the table alive. For extroverts, I think, mostly. Introverts don't really care. They're good with silence, I have found. And that last moment of silence was actually for you guys. But they're good with it. And you don't need to. So that's why I tended now, after being married to an introvert for almost 15 years in a couple of weeks. Oh, shit. What's the 15th year thing? Is it like do I have to do something? Like, do I have to get her a gift? I mean, I gave her the gift of my love. That's enough. Come on, woman. What more do you want? I guess I should get something. It's 15 years. That's 3 5-year anniversaries. And the 5 is like a big one. And the 2 of those was big because that's the first time you hit double digits. And then you're like, wow, where did the time go? Okay, 15 years. All right, so where were we? Menu, conversations. Yes. So yeah, she will. That's what I've learned is after being married to an introvert for almost 15 years and being together for like 20 now. Oh my God. That's insane. Okay. Do I have to get a gift for that? Like when we started dating? No. No. Okay, that's what marriage was. That was the gift for dating, right? I don't know. Okay, but menus. Conversation topics. It's okay. They don't have to keep flowing. Someone else will take care of it at the table. But the menu thing, I don't know. I could see there being, it's nice to review it. And like if you've already memorized it, if you've already scoped it out, then what's the point of even looking at the menu? You've already picked out what you're getting. Which, okay, that's fine. It's not a judgment call, except you're the worst people on earth. No, that's not the worst people on earth. I mean, there's probably a few people worse. Well, I don't know. I mean, Ted Bundy, maybe he was a menu guy. Al Bundy, he was kind of a jerk, but fun to watch, Anyway, so menus. I'm firmly in the no camp. That's part of the fun. It's the surprise. And But then again, I don't have any weird dietary restrictions. And if you do, okay, then I guess you should probably check it out. And, whatever. Make sure they have something without nuts, I guess. I do appreciate how waiters, I almost said actors, but I mean, same difference. But I appreciate how waiters always ask, like if somebody says, oh, do you have can I do it without the bread? And then they're always like, is it an allergy or a preference? Because they basically want to know, look, are you going to die if we lie to you? I mean, accidentally, if something touches it. And I love that question because then almost everyone is like, that's a preference. Because not many people are going to die. I've known one. Okay, I've talked about that before. All right, so anyway, let me know your thoughts on the menu thing. I'd like to know because I need more people on my side. So let me know if you agree with me. And if you don't, just hang tight. Okay, next thing on the list is cab etiquette. Now, what I mean by this is, here's the story. Wife and I were on the street. We were trying to catch a cab. I thought that was going to go someplace fun, and then I'm like, this is a terrible start to a story. I guess not, because that we wanted something. We knew who the characters were, and we had volition. We wanted something. We wanted a cab. We would have given our left nut. Well, we wouldn't have. Well, I guess we would have. She would have volunteered it, I'm sure. But anyway, so we're trying to catch a cab. I've got my arm out, and nothing. There's on this street at this time of day, there's hardly any cabs. This is one of the COVID hangover things I don't like is we're still not up to peak cab capacity. Now that we just opened up our international borders, that might change because there are a lot more international people here. And so maybe more cabbies are going to be on duty, to drive those people around, which I would appreciate because they're like on 9th now, it's tough to get a cab. For whatever reason, they just don't come down 9th. Although there's 10 blocks of construction, so maybe they just hate that. Anyway, that could be true. Maybe I should go to a different avenue. Okay. But we're trying to catch a cab. We moved to the other side of the intersection, still going the same direction. And some guy comes up from behind me and he says, hey man, I was here for a long time. Pause. For a long, long time. And I just said, okay, all right. And I kept my hand out. Now, granted, I gave him the cab. The cab came along and I gave it to him. Because look, if you're going to go up to a New Yorker, if you're going to go up to another human being and say, excuse me, I was here first, then you need that cab. Your life is in a situation that you've got to get that cab. Until then, I operated under the protocol of whoever's farthest upstream to the oncoming cab gets it first. Okay? So I don't care. I was 15 feet farther north on the street, and it's a southbound lane. It's southbound avenue. Okay? Traffic's coming southbound. That's what I'm trying to say here. And I was 15 feet north. Okay? And he called it. Now, okay, in New York, by the way, there's no lines for cabs. I mean, there are in front of Port Authority, Penn Station, major transit places, Grand Central. They have cab lines because when there's thousands of people coming out of there all looking for a cab, they got to have some organized way to do it. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. In general, you just step out onto a street, stick your flabby arm up there, waggle it all around, and a cab, you flag one down and they come down. By the way, tip to non-New Yorkers, if you ever visit New York and you're trying to hail a cab, you only need to stick your hand up when you see the numbers lit up on top of the cab. Okay? This is a secret that nobody has told you yet. But the cabs with the lights, if you can see their numbers on top of the cab with the lights off, that means that they have a fare. They have somebody inside and they're already driving them. Because most of the time I see people who got their arms up and then they get all bent out of shape until they see me whiz by and then they're like, oh, well, okay, there's somebody in there. But how did I know? That's how you know. I know it's not obvious. Okay, I'm not blaming you. It's very not clear. But, if there's no lights on, there's nobody home. Well, I guess in this case, there is somebody going home. Okay, forget it. So anyway, I always operated under the protocol of farthest upstream gets the cab first. Okay, I've been jumped once where I was actually going to get in the cab and some guy jumped and took it. And he said, "Hey man, I'm sorry." And you know what? I'm okay with it. It was a dick move, but again, if you've constructed things in your life such that your life situation is one that you need to cut in line to get a cab, cut somebody off, because again, there's no line. But I hailed it, pulled over for me. That's okay. You should take that cab. You'll learn. I mean, you will learn to write your life the right way, correct it so that you don't need to do that thing. I've built my life so that I don't have to, so that I have the luxury. And now this is by accident, also because I'm not going to you might have a gun. I'm not going to get mad at you, but I've built my life. Let's just flip this around and say that I did this intentionally. I've constructed my life such that I'm okay. If you need to jump in line in front of me, all right. I'm not in that big of a rush. So that's happened once. But then this guy says, "Hey, I was here first." What do you do? Because part of me thinks if that were me, I would have just crossed the street going to the north side and I would have just upstreamed me. And then I would have been like, "Oh, okay. I get it. That's fair. You need it that bad. You're willing to walk across the street. Fine." But, to claim it, that's gutsy. I don't know. I mean, again, I need the points. I need the karma points. So I let him have it. And basically because I needed to tell you guys about it. I needed to tell somebody, and I'm telling you that I did a nice thing, I think. So yeah, that happened. What do you do? How do you operate? What should I have done? I'd love to know your thoughts. poatcast@gmail.com. POAT cast@gmail.com. Would you split a cab with somebody? That seems weird. I know people used to do that. Well, I don't even know if they used to. I would that's because you may be going totally different directions. I think I have done that. Maybe not. Oh, I have done that with people I know. We're both going the same way. I'll just, get it. Again, I want to paint myself out to be the hero here. So that's why I mentioned that specific example too. But yeah, so I don't know. Should I not have let the guy? Should I have explained to him the rules? Hey, that's not how it works here. It's Fight Club and, 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. It's like the octagon, really, is what I maybe should have explained to him. I don't know. Did I do the right thing? Did I do the wrong thing? You're my conscience here. Tell me. Also, I need to defend cabs because I know everybody's taking Uber, and I will usually compare the prices, and Uber is way more expensive than cabs, especially recently. And that's one. Also, I don't take Ubers because I don't want to explain to the driver where and how to get there. I find that most of the time I need to give them directions, even though they have, the Google map. It's always they always have an Android phone too. Not always. I guess most of the time they have an Android phone with the Google map on it. And I still need to tell them, "Oh no, you got to take a left here." I don't want to spend my entire ride giving directions. Just let me drive. I'll just pull over. Anyway, so that's why I like cabs. I've had one cab miss my turn. And I got so flustered because it was the first time that I'm like, "You know what? Just pull over right here, please." And he did, because that's how they work. And then I just got out and walked the 1 block to my place. That's it. That was the worst that happened ever with a cab. It's their job. I don't want a part-timer driving me around. And I know there's a lot of full-timer Ubers, but most of them, it seems like based on the conversations I've had with them, this is not their main gig. I had one guy in Chicago telling me all about his rental properties and how he was flipping condos in the city in the Loop. And I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. You're just doing this for fun, I guess." And I had a guy in Louisiana, in New Orleans, who had rental properties. What do all these guys are they all into real estate and probably Bitcoin now? Is that their deal? Anyway, they're all nice. Nothing against them personally, except everything. But that's why I take cabs. Man, I don't know why everybody likes Uber, even in New York. It's more expensive. It's more it's just more difficult. And you can pay with an app at the cab. You can hail I'd never hailed a cab from the app, but I know you can. But it's Curb or Arrow. Those are two. You just put in the number and you're done. That's it. You don't have to carry anything. Anyway, all right, I'm getting bent out of shape about the cab thing. When is our time? Where's our march for cabs? I mean, but I don't want to I'm not going to like strike with them, like when Uber first went to Paris or whatever, and all those guys took their daily strikes. It was like they're on strike every other week, but it's not like that, where they I don't care about that. That's for them to figure out. I do understand why they were mad and why cabbies would be mad because, you pay you lease your car and you pay like $1 million for a medallion or whatever, or you lease that out to, I don't know how that works. It doesn't sound cheap, basically. But I like it. I like them. They know the city. You always find there's more characters in cabs. They never talk to me either. It's if anything, it's the opposite. I'm the one talking to them. I'm like, hey, where are you from? That's an interesting name. Tell me about it. And then they shut that plastic partition so fast. I'm like, 5 stars. Got them. Anyway, all right. So I'm curious. What's your thing about cabs? Do you take them? Do you not take them? How would you handle that situation of some guy saying, hey man, I've been here a while? Would you say, all right, you got it then? Or, does it depend on how attractive the person is? I would say yes. Would you have just ignored him? Walked up farther upstream? I don't know. Okay. poatcast@gmail.com. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Yeah. Okay. Next topic. So it's become a thing since the kind of post-pandemic era. It's become a thing in the post-pandemic era for food delivery people and grocery delivery people, both, to just leave food at my door. I ordered it, right? But, okay, here, let me back up. Let me explain the whole situation. So, pre-COVID, here's how things happened. I wanted sushi. I ordered sushi online. The sushi delivery person would come to my building. They would talk to my doorman. The doorman would call me. They would send once I approved, they would send the delivery person up to my door. They would knock. They would ring my doorbell, hand me the food once I opened the door, and then they would be on their merry way. Okay, tip was included. I that's in the payment thing, so that's fine. Then COVID happened, and the new protocol was the delivery person comes to the building. They drop the food off in the lobby in a specified area. Doorman calls. I come down to retrieve said food and come back up and eat it. Just go to town on the sushi. Okay. That sounded gross. Okay. But then post-pandemic, they're allowed back up in our, in the halls to roam the halls. But here's what happens. They come in, doorman calls me, delivery person comes up. They just ring my doorbell and run like they're lighting a bag of poop and just running away. And I don't like it. Okay? So I realize this may sound old manish of me, but when you pay for, when you're used to something, used to that little bit of human interaction, and you pay for food, you expect some person to give it to you, not for just be waiting at your door. I don't know what they expect. It's not like I answered the door naked every time. Okay? I had a loaded gun once, but no. I don't know what the deal is, why they think that's okay. Now, for the grocery delivery thing, it's actually a problem on both, but weirder on the grocery because one time I ordered fish, and it's hard enough to get fresh fish in New York. I've griped about this in the past. If anybody has tips for finding fresh seafood, let me know. It's gotten a little bit better. I think I'm okay, but all right. But one time I ordered fish, and the delivery person didn't even ring my doorbell. They kind of just knocked and walked away. I didn't know that the food had been delivered. I thought they were getting, because sometimes it takes them 5 minutes to come up from the front desk, right? Whether maybe the elevators are backed up or they get lost, whatever. Maybe they're doing a second delivery. Okay, I don't know. But it sat out there for 15 minutes, which I know doesn't sound like much, but when you have fish in a warm hallway for 15 minutes. It's gross. So that's a problem. So I emailed them. I emailed support, and they're like, hey, that's totally not how things are supposed to be done. We'll let our teams know. And to their credit, they've gotten a little bit better. They still actually ring the doorbell and then they run, which is just unprofessional, I think. I'm curious to know what you think. So email me at poatcast@gmail.com. We can hash this out on a future show. Send me an email. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. I'll read them aloud or not, depending on how weird the thoughts are. Oof. Oh boy. But I think it's unprofessional. You're dropping food off. So now some guys they smile. They hand it to me like, hey, have a nice day. I'm like, you know what? You have a nice day. And I love it. That little piece of human interaction is perfect. I actually got to know my previous delivery guy from Fresh Direct. It was Tyrell or Tyrone. Oh God. Oh no. I've forgotten his name. And actually, I remember forgetting his name a few times, even while I knew him, and I would always joke, it's Tyrone. And it was funny to him, but to me, I was like, but tell me which one it is. It was Tyrell. I'm almost positive. God, I hope you're not a listener. But I got to know him. It was nice. We would come every week, and it was just, it's nice seeing a familiar face. And then he's gone, and now it's an unfamiliar person, different person almost every time. But they drop it and run. The food delivery people, same, but less frequently. But when did this, why? I understand if you think, that you talk to the doorman calls me, you come up, I should be like waiting there. But sometimes, that sometimes it takes you 5 minutes to get up my elevator. And in which case, I'm not going to stand at my door for like 5 minutes just waiting. Oh, you made it. Yay. The party can now start. No. Open the damn door. Knock. Don't open my door. That'd be weird. But knock. Ring the doorbell. Because I don't know what to do. Because it feels weird to just complain about it to anyone other than you, since you're a great listener. But it feels weird to call up the restaurant and say, yeah, you're a guy. This never happens with pizza, because that they have it in the the sleeve thing. And that guy's great. From Baker's Pizza, highly recommend. Although Baker's, you crossed me once. Your pizza's so good, though, that I came back to you. But you crossed me once. You never gave me that gift card that you promised for that time you screwed up. And I didn't care about the screw up as much as I did the promise of fixing it, and then you didn't fix it. Okay, anyway, besides the point. Baker's Pizza, Jeremy, I'm watching you. But, Pizza Guy, always great. But it's some of the others. I don't know what the deal is. What would you guys do? How do I handle this situation? Do I just get over it? I can't. I watched a TikTok video. Okay, I watched a TikTok video by an author I really admire. And I've read almost all of his books except his most recent, but we just picked it up, so I have no excuse now. His name is Ryan Holiday, and he's written a whole bunch of books about Stoicism and the lives of Stoics and lessons from Stoicism, okay? Like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. And anyway, they're great books. Highly recommend them. Ryan Holiday. But anyway, he had a video on TikTok, which I liked, and it was 6 questions to ask yourself every day or something like that. Anyway, one of them was, maybe that's not the title of the video, but the point is they were great questions, and 2 of them specifically might help me out of this pickle I'm in. The first one is, can I control it? Is it in my control? And I don't think it really is. I mean, what am I going to do? Tell every single delivery guy, hey, next time, I really want you to just ring my doorbell and then wait for me to open it and then smile with those big brown eyes. No, I'm not. That's going to be weird. I made it weird. But that's awkward. So I'm not going to do that because, and it's not, the Chinese restaurant is the same guy every time, but he always hands it to me. He's a nice guy. Anyway, so where was I going with that? Oh yeah. So I don't know what to do. Do I change my tipping policy to be cash tip? Because on the ordering apps, you can specify, you can tip in the app, percent, dollar amount, or you can say no tip, or you can say cash tip. Then do I go cash tip and see then they're going to have to open the door. But then I don't want to carry cash. That's the thing. I don't know. What do I do? I don't know what to do. I don't even, okay, so the first question is it in my control? And it's not really. Like, I don't really want to start phoning up all these restaurants or the delivery services and start saying like, can you please get your boys to ring my doorbell and wait till I open it? That's just going to be weird and annoying. And I don't want to spend my time doing that. I'd much rather spend it whining to you guys. Okay. And then the second question is it essential? And that is, yes, it's obviously essential. This is important to society, okay, and to my well-being. So is it essential? Yeah, okay. It's so essential. I would argue it's the most essential. It's core. I really wanted there to be like a better word than essential than core. And core, I don't think that's not going to cut it. So we'll end that. But no, okay, it's obviously not essential. So I guess I'll just get over it. All right. Let me know what you think. Can I do anything? Should I do anything? What would you do? poatcast@gmail.com. Or you can DM me on Instagram. I'm back on now. So that might be an easier way. DM me on Instagram. It's just Anthony Ledonne, Ledonne. Hit me up there. You know, if you want to follow too, that'd be great. It's a new account for me. So I've got like 0 followers. I have a couple followers now, like 90 or 80 or something. Whatever it is, it's a big number, and my mom would be proud of me. If only she followed me, she would know. Okay, here's another one for you. And stop me if I've talked about this before, but I need your help. I don't know what to do about this situation. And it's an annoying one. And I would argue that it's not in my control and it's not essential, but I still want to talk about it. I have had 2 neighbors on my floor smoke weed. One of them I think may have been evicted or has moved out or has stopped smoking weed in the building, which is nice. I appreciate that. Hopefully that's the one and they didn't, obviously I hope that they don't get evicted. Maybe they moved on to greener pastures. But my next door neighbor it's his son. His son smokes a lot of weed every day and doesn't invite me over for anything. And that makes me mad. So, but I've complained in my building. And now it's just kind of the point where I let them know. It's more of just because they explained to me, hey, just tell us every time it happens. We'll send somebody up to verify where it is coming from, and we're building a case because now that courts are back open, they can actually proceed with evictions and stuff. But there's monetary fines, I think, before that. It's okay. Here, let me set the stage. It's a non-smoking building. Smoking marijuana is legal in New York, but you can go outside. You can just do it downstairs. So what do I do here? I've talked to the kid once directly, knocked on his door. He didn't open it the first time. He was like, yeah. It's like, the hallway smells like shit. It smells like weed. He's like, oh, sorry. I'll cut it out. And he didn't cut it out. And then it's happened like a dozen more times, in the last, 4 months. So, but what do I do? Here's what I want to have happen. I'd love to be able to kick down the door, take all the paraphernalia and just put it into a lockbox outside, give him a key and say that you can only use this outside, which is stupid. Because if I were him, I would just open it up and then bring it all back upstairs. But anyway, but yeah, so I don't know. Is there any way to expedite this? I'm considering moving. Lauren and I have talked about this, but we've moved 7 times in the last 10 years. And it's nice to be in a place, nice to have the same address, to not have mail go to different places and have to track it all down for more than a year. I'd like that. Anyway, what would you do? And there's no judgment. Okay, first of all, I don't care what you do on the inside as long as I can't smell. Oh, I have talked about this. Oh, no. Okay, well, I'll cut this one out then. Maybe not. Maybe I'll leave it. Hit me up. Email, Instagram. Let me know your thoughts. This one's petering out. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of POAT Podcast. It has been a real sincere pleasure talking at you and having you listen. If you haven't already and you enjoyed this, please feel free to subscribe. That's always a great thing. If you've enjoyed this podcast, leave me a review. A positive one would be great. 5 stars is the minimum. I do have thoughts on reviewers in general, but I appreciate positive reviewers. Maybe I'll share the thoughts on negative reviewers next time. But It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here with me. I do these because I like connecting with people, and it's lonely for the most part, because you see people at a comedy club and you have a couple of friends, but that's it. And then most of the time during the day, it's like, well, I guess I better produce something to connect with humans out there and make this huge world feel a little bit smaller. That's what I'm doing. So feel free to connect back. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I'm everywhere. I get Clubhouse. I'm thinking about maybe streaming these live on Clubhouse to see if we can get some interaction. I think that'd be kind of fun. Let me know your thoughts there. Hit me up on email, poatcast@gmail.com, or Instagram. I'm at Anthony Ladon. That's the best way to get a hold of me. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Take care. Have a great week.